G'day there guys, it's Connie here again from Marquee Industries, your friendly neighbourhood Reddit reader, and we're back with some more stories. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and let's get straight into the stories. Alright, kicking things off on Am I the A-hole, this one was written by user Venyul Ashki, and it's titled, Am I the A-hole for giving my gluten-free mother gluten without telling her? So my mother and I don't have a great relationship. Throughout my life, she has pushed all kinds of fad diets, self-help flavoured fads, and even conversion therapy via the troubled teen industry on me. She's never apologised for any of it, despite me telling her how much it all messed me up. I still haven't mustered the guts up to go no contact because she's still married to my dad, who I do get along with and generally like. Well, I recently moved to a new place in a really nice area because I just got a really nice new job. Suddenly, my mum really wants to come and visit and see me. I do my best to make up excuses, but she pushes so hard that eventually I cave. One of the things I've been doing since moving into my new place is a lot of cooking because I have a nice big kitchen all to myself. I love quote-unquote weird food and finding new ways to get protein into my diet without using meat. Something I've had a lot of fun making lately is latiao. It's probably not weird to some people, but to my sheltered American self it was funky as hell, and I loved the idea of it, so I started making it from scratch and discovered that I love it. Well, my mum and dad got here yesterday afternoon and settle in and we start talking about dinner. As usual, mum has to pick after looking at online menus for a couple of hours to make sure they fit with her dietary requirements. She ends up picking a vegan restaurant that's across town, but she's just so tired from the drive up, she can't fathom getting back in the car, so Dad and I agree to go pick it up while she rests. Driving across my new city is a long process, which I told her ahead of time, and it's a little over an hour later when we get home with the vegan, gluten-free food she wanted. She's not vegan, but she's adamantly gluten-free and has been for a few years now. We get inside, and as I'm opening the food in the kitchen, I noticed the Pyrex Snapware container of latiao that was in my fridge is now empty in the sink. She even dumped out the sauce that I'd been soaking them in. I asked her if she'd eaten something out of my fridge while we were gone, and she said that yes, she'd eaten some chicken because she was getting lightheaded from hunger, but it was terrible and she was so ready for some real food. Now this is where I might have been the a-hole. Instead of telling her what she had actually just eaten, I just rolled my eyes and dished up the food for everyone, and we ate. She continued to remark about how bad and oily the chicken was, and how relieved she was to finally eat something substantial throughout the rest of the evening. My dad kept trying to change the subject, and she kept coming back to it. I finally snapped when she brought it up again first thing this morning when I was picking them up from their hotel. I asked them where they wanted to go for breakfast, and my mum made a joke about not wanting me to cook them breakfast because she didn't want more oily chicken, or something to that effect. I finally said, Mum, that was homemade latiao, and I don't understand why you ate all of it if you hated it so much. She asked me what latiao is, and I explained that it's just vital wheat gluten and water steamed and soaked in sauce. I practically watched as her face dropped, and sure enough, within 30 minutes her stomach was killing her and she was having difficulty breathing and needed to go to the emergency room. The whole time we were there, she went on and on to the nurses and doctors about how I'd fed her gluten and not told her until it was too late for her to take her medicine, and crying because now the whole trip was ruined. Mind you, this is the hospital where I work. My dad pulled me aside to tell me he was disappointed that I hadn't spoken up last night, and how what I'd done not only hurt my mother's feelings, but also put her health and safety at risk. He asked me to go home and think about my actions and give my mother some space, and now I'm just sitting here alone in my cool new place feeling like a dick and super anxious about what work is going to be like next week. I'm torn because I don't think it's my fault that she ate my food without talking to me first, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't omit the information about what she'd eaten because I was ticked at her and just didn't want to discuss it further. I also didn't expect it to make her so sick. So, am I the a-hole? Nah man, I find it a bit weird that she only got sick when you told her that it was gluten, and not, after she ate the food. Mind you, this is the morning after that she discovered that she ate gluten. From my experience with people who are celiac or gluten intolerant, they feel it pretty quickly after they eat it. I don't know, everyone's different I suppose. Let's go to the comments. Your mum took food out of your fridge and ate it without checking first to see what it was. This is not on you. As for not telling your mum last night and her physical reaction this morning, this is a mental issue, not a physical issue. She didn't get sick until she found out what she ate. She's fine. I bet she never eats anything from your fridge again. Not the a-hole. I bet it didn't make her sick. Getting sick right after she learned what it was is suspicious AF. Not the a-hole. You didn't give it to her. She took it without even knowing what it was. Whether you told her at the time or when you did, the outcome would have still been the same, and you'd still been made out to be the bad guy in the situation. It was a lose-lose situation. Yeah, exactly my thoughts. Okay, Opie makes an update 6 hours later. Just got home. So after everything went down this morning, I went back to the hospital to check on my parents. My mum was sleeping and still in the ED, and so I got to talk to my dad and the doctor a bit. My dad still thought I should apologise. I told him I would when she woke up. When I talked to the doctor a bit, I started asking about testing. I asked if they'd done a test for the specific kind of immunoglobulin present in celiacs when someone has gluten, and she said she hadn't actually needed to because apparently my mum had that test done in the past with her PCP. The doctor asked me if I worked in the medical field, and I told her that yes, I worked in the lab. She then volunteered a bit more information that she probably shouldn't have, but I'm glad she did because I feel a bit better. She had managed to get my mum's lab results faxed over and looked them over. Apparently my mum's TTG-IgA was low enough that it was absolutely clear that my mother does not have celiac disease. The doctor had offered to refer her for a biopsy, which is standard procedure for confirmation of celiac, and my mother declined. I later confirmed with my dad that it was because she didn't think it was worth it to go through all the expense and pain of surgery to confirm something she already knows. Furthermore, according to the nurse, my mother was given lorazepam, which he told me was for her stomach pain and nausea. He actually put this in air quotes with his fingers. In case you're not familiar with lorazepam, it's a benzo that's usually used as an antipsychotic and anti-anxiety sedative along with gastro symptoms. Apparently the medicine my mum was talking about was some kind of holistic herbal thing. Cherry on top is that the nurse is Chinese and loves Latiao, and I now have a new work friend. I thanked them for all their help, and they indicated that she was ready to be discharged. My dad was not inclined to wake her up, but I explained that there were other people waiting that needed to be seen, and they couldn't be seen if there were no open beds. I then asked the doctor if she could write my mum a script for more lorazepam, which she agreed to, which seemed to placate my dad. I wheeled my mum out to my car. She was high as hell, and going on and on about how she couldn't believe that I poisoned her, and if I wasn't her daughter I'd be going to prison. I just apologised, didn't offer any excuses. When I got them to their hotel and my mum was waiting on a couch in the lobby while my dad grabbed her bags from the car, I told my dad it was probably better if they just go home. I'm not going to lie, I got a little emotional. He agreed. So yeah, based on the lab work and the way the ED staff were acting, I'm convinced my mum was faking for sympathy and attention. Not that it matters because my dad will always support her no matter what. I'm never having them over again. Some final comments. It's really tough to live with a centre stage mother and complicit father. At least they're a plane ride away. I'm really glad this time you told your dad to his face that he should leave. That took guts. Opie replies, honestly, I've done this to myself multiple times. Every time I see my mum, I hope that things will be better, and every time I get my heart broken. I haven't seen them for years now, and once again I kind of naively got my hopes up after I caved. When she's not around, I really enjoy hanging out with my dad, and that's what makes this so hard to commit to. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm gluten-free, and when going to get tested for celiacs, was told the only way to get an accurate result from the testing was to eat gluten every day for 2 weeks, equivalent to 2 slices of bread each day. If she only ate it once, the test would be inconclusive anyway, no? Opie replies, celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder, and tissue transglutaminase IgA is a product of an immunological response to the enzymes your digestive tract produces when someone with celiac digests gluten. So yes, you have to be consuming gluten in order for it to be positive. That's why the doctors require you to consume gluten prior to running this test. This isn't the kind of lab work that you just go in for a random draw. Your physician clearly communicates with you what you need to do prior to be drawn, and laboratory personnel confirm those requirements have been met before drawing your blood. Another comment says, sure, let them walk all over you and don't confront them about the obvious lies. Opie says, honestly, I just took the path of least resistance. I'm not trying to fight with my intoxicated mother and my defensive father. All it's going to do is make me more upset. I learned my lesson and I'm not letting them come over again. I've managed to avoid them for years. It's hard not to get my hopes up that they'll someday magically become the parents I've always wanted and love me, so sue me. And on the dad, I love my dad. He's a great husband to my mum. He will also always pick her every time, and that's why they'll always be together and why I can never bring these concerns to him. Whenever I try, he stonewalls me. Everything he does, it's out of concern for the well-being of those around him. He just doesn't do very well at distinguishing fault when conflict involves my mother. Yeah, it seems like Opie's coming to the sad reality that she might have to distance herself from her parents quite a bit. It's a sad reality that happens all too often. Anyway guys, that's the end of that story. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Either way, we're moving on to another story. Okay, we're back over on relationships. This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, My son got home today and insisted on changing his name. When my son got back from a New Year's party today, he asked for a talk. We sat down and he said that with a new year, he's changing his name to something completely different to what his name currently is. For some context, this is a name that has been passed down for several generations in the family. I'm the 6th and he's the 7th. It really meant a lot to me that I was able to continue the tradition with him, and I was hoping that he would continue the tradition with his own children. When I brought it up with him, he said that he'd always hoped he only has daughters just to not have to pass it on. As we talked, he said he's always hated having the same name as someone else and wanted to pick something new. I just don't get it. Having the family name always made me feel more connected to the family and its history. Now I'm left heartbroken that he wants to do this. Is there anything I can say to him, or a way I can approach this with him? I know I can't stop him from filing the paperwork, but the fact that he wants to change it at all is very upsetting to me. Let's go to the comments. This is his choice and his choice alone. Pressuring him to keep his current name will only alienate him from you. Truthfully, and I mean no offense, it seems a bit controlling that you would want him to keep his current name. Don't you want him to be happy? Respect his choice and his autonomy. He will only respect you more for doing so. Opie replies, I do want him to be happy, and I don't really feel that I'm pressuring him, but I still want to have a proper discussion with him about it. This is a big change, and it really hurts me to see the tradition end right here. Well, what's the name? I knew a guy whose name was Paul Ennis, and it didn't dawn on me until we had to fill out paperwork together in which our first name was abbreviated P. Ennis, aka Penis. Said it was a family tradition name, the third in line. F that. Not saying that's your name, but it's not similar, is it? Opie replies, No, it's nothing like that. Our name is William, and the middle name doesn't combine with it in any unfortunate way. Now they've found a separate post from the son's perspective, titled, My family is upset with me for trying to change my name. I've always hated my name. I was named after my dad, and he was after his own, etc. for 8 generations. We all have exactly the same name, first, middle, and last. Growing up, I hated being called Junior, and now it's a pain because our mail keeps getting mixed up, and because you never really know who's being addressed when Dad, Granddad, and I are all in the same room. On top of that, there's a part of me that feels like I have no identity. In a way, I feel like I was just born to fill a quota, or just to be a link in the chain, and not because I was actually desired as a person. I hope that makes sense. I know for sure that I'm supposed to carry on the tradition, but there's no way I will. I actually do want kids someday, but if I have a boy, he's sure as hell getting his own name. But honestly, I want my own name. I've looked into having mine legally changed, and when my parents found out, they were ticked. I keep getting inundated with comments, either in person or text of, how can you turn your back on family like this? I keep being told that I'm being disrespectful to all the namesakes that came before me. My problem with that is no one can tell me a single thing about them. Other than their names being the same as mine, no one has any information about them or their lives, so it just strikes me as completely hollow argument. I've tried to be as rational about this as I can. Honestly, I've even approached my parents and said that I'm willing to work with them to pick a new name for myself so that they can still have the role of having named me, but they won't budge. Am I wrong for feeling this way? I hate just being the next link in the chain, and on top of that, feeling that the names for my own children are being predetermined, rather than being left to me and my hypothetical future wife. Can I do anything to keep the peace? Regardless, I'm still determined to change my own name. I just don't want to cause a huge family rift when I do. Let's go straight to the comments again. Your dad may have posted here about a month ago. I'll try to dig it up. Go ahead and change your name for sure. Just understand that they'll still use your birth name. They'll be ticked about you changing it, but keep having calm conversations about why, and help them understand that it's not about rejecting them, it's about having your own identity. Nope, not wrong. If you want to throw them a bone, maybe make the traditional first name a middle name, or pick another family name, but that's up to you. I mean, I can understand their feelings, but just because I can understand them doesn't mean I agree with them, and while I can empathize, I still think they're being childish. You're just going to have to put your foot down. I'm changing my name to X, and I'm not going to put up with any more lectures about it. If wanting to enjoy my own name is disrespectful, then so be it. If you truly want to change your name, do it. Feeling like you have your own identity is very important for your mental health. Your parents will probably never respect this choice though. Just be prepared for that. Opie comments when asked what changing his name will accomplish. It'll give me leverage when I insist that I called something else. Yes, my friends will respect me enough to call me by a different name, but if I said to my family, call me Michael instead of Andrew, they're going to give me a hard time. Legally changing it will give me at least some leverage on the issue, and it will help on a legal level because I can sign documents and have them issued with a different name. I know it's petty, but it does really suck having your dad open the mail with your first driver's license in it. And this argument has to happen one way or another, either now or when I have children and the child's mother is dragged into it when my family find out that I'm not continuing the tradition. I'd rather take on that burden now. Another comment says, nope, your family is not going to change their behaviour with or without a court order. Opie replies, either way, I can at least start signing things in a different name, regardless of what they call me. Getting any legal stuff mixed up with them is a nightmare. Yeah, I can imagine. Okay guys, on to an update. So, kind of a strange update. In my original thread, a commenter pointed out that there was a thread that was similar but from the other perspective. I checked it out and it was eerily similar to my situation, from what Opie said in the remaining comments. I asked my dad about it and it turned out he did actually post it. Some minor things didn't match up. We both changed a couple minor details to preserve anonymity, but he kinda gave that away when he said my name in the comments. So to the update, everyone is still pretty upset about it. My dad has been sulking about it a lot. He's still struggling with the idea that he's going to be the last of his name, and here I was thinking that your father's name meant his last name, not the whole thing. My brother, who is more like my dad than I am, is mad. I think he does like the tradition and is ticked that I came first, so he's mad at me too. Dad called my granddad and he's on his side too. Mum has been more quiet. She's really conflict avoiding and I think that might be why she agreed to name me this in the first place. So it's been rough, but more than anything, it's strengthened my resolve. No one has talked to me about my feelings, just how I'm turning my back on the family legacy. All I could do was point out to them is that their arguments are exactly what I was talking about. They're making me feel like I'm nothing more than a vessel to carry on a name, rather than someone who is desired as a person. It got a little heated when my dad, granddad and brother had an intervention of sorts with me about it. I was ticked and told them straight up that the tradition is dead. You can either have this decision with me, now and alone, or in a few years when I have a pregnant partner, and they can take us both on at once. I would never want to put this pressure on a girlfriend or wife, especially while she's pregnant. That's part of why I think this is important to do now. After their total lack of support, the offer to work with my parents on picking out a new name together is off the table. I've made the decision on my own. I love my new name. My friends are cool with it, and I've given my family 1 month's grace. At the end of February, I'll correct them every time, and that will last 2 months. After that, I will refuse to respond if they call me by former name. The paperwork is filed to make it legal, so I think it's going well overall. Picking out my new name obviously caused its own problems. As soon as I told my dad, I got the immediate response that's too modern. Why are you giving up a name with historical integrity for something so new? Brother was again ticked that I followed through with it because the name is dead. I actually don't think either name I've picked out for myself is particularly modern, but they're probably a bit newer than William. So that's kind of where we are now. My family is now ticked at me, but I'm holding my own. I've got my new name, which I absolutely love, and I'm in the process of a legal name change. One commenter says, your brother should take your old name if he wants it so much. You get a new name, he gets the family name, and if everyone is cool, it becomes a weird family joke. Opie says, yeah, he can do it if he wants. I'll respect his new name if he does. Don't think he will, though. I can only imagine the legal nightmare with credits, diplomas, etc., especially with them having the same permanent address, if they do. Opie says, so pretty much what I've been dealing with my entire life. It's easy to love a name when you don't have to live with it. Yeah, I agree with what that comment said before. I think the brother should maybe take the name, if he's so caught up on it. But yeah, I can totally understand Opie's mindset here. What about you guys? What would you do if you were the 8th in line? I guess for me it would depend on the name itself, and also, how proud you may be of history and tradition and whatever. Anyway, let me know, and we'll move on to another story. Alright, we're heading over to relationship advice. This one was written by user Alexis Drake, and it's titled, My boyfriend asked me for $1,500 to buy a Halloween costume. Me, female 22, and my boyfriend, 26, have been together for around 4 years. I recently was asked by him if he could get a personal loan under my name so that he could buy a Halloween costume. I'm feeling a bit unsure of how upset I should be, or if I should even be upset about it. To explain his current situation, he currently has around $5,000 worth of debt and does not have a job and lives off of payments from the government currently. When he originally asked, I got quite upset since for the last year his financial situation has continued to get worse, as I currently pay for his groceries and essentials, and without aid doesn't have basic essentials like toilet paper or soap, let alone food, and can only meet the payments of his rent at the moment. When he asked me for the loan, it was about $1,500, and he wanted to have me open a personal loan since no financial lenders would give him any more money than he currently has on loan. I don't know why I felt like it was my breaking point, but I just cried and told him he was being childish for asking me for money to buy something so stupid, and haven't spoken to him for the last couple of days. He asked me for money when he already relies on me to buy his groceries and is in so much debt from buying video games and action figures. I'm struggling to figure out what to even do or say to him. The reason he wants the loan so much from me is for more of the same non-essential things that got him into debt in the first place. A custom-made Halloween costume seems like an outrageous thing to want to purchase in his current situation, but he doesn't see it as a big deal, since in his words, it's not a lot of money for you, and I think I just need advice on what approach might work to help him understand. No matter how much I've tried to explain the strain his dependence on me to support him with his basic needs has been when we don't live together, and despite me trying to suggest loan consolidation or a selected person to manage his funds on his behalf could benefit him, I feel like my approach isn't working. I would appreciate advice on what steps I can take or what approach I might be able to use instead in regards to talking to him and trying to resolve this issue in our relationship currently. Resolve the issue in your relationship? Leave this man-child. Seriously, this guy relying on handouts from his girlfriend 4 years his junior is all you need to know about this guy. Let's go to the comments. Tell him it's not a lot of money for you because you would never in a million years even contemplate something as foolhardy as taking out a 4-figure loan for a holiday that's A, months away, and B, can be celebrated just as if not more effectively with an old bedsheet and a pair of scissors. Or no. Just no works. Or simply laugh as you walk away. Hopefully for good, because I don't know why you're trying to convince yourself this is reasonable unless you want to spend the rest of your life in debt catering to an overgrown 5-year-old's every whim. Opie replies, I think I'm struggling and rationalizing it because my boyfriend has already invested about $700 into the costume and has been stressing and non-stop talking to me and showing me pictures of what costume he wants, and cried to me over the phone about how he's always wanted to dress up in this costume since he was a child. He's never mentioned this character or costume to me since we've been together. He stressed how life-changing this costume was that he told me, quote, "I would happily starve for weeks if it means I have this costume," which I really don't want to have him do. He hasn't invested $700. He has spent $700 he does not have. This is hugely disturbing behavior. If he starves for weeks because of this costume, he wins a Darwin Award. Why are you still dating this idiot? Opie clarifies what the costume is. It's a Spider-Man costume with like ridged webbing, and it's screen accurate to the Amazing Spider-Man costume from the movies. Laughing my ass off, girl. Come on, have some respect for yourself. This man is already a clown. He doesn't need any costume. Haha, yes, spot on. Okay, on to an update the same day. I'm sure most of you thought this was a dumb question to begin with and really tore through me, but for those who were kinder with their advice, I really appreciated it, along with the private messages that offered kinder words. I know I seem like an absolute idiot, but I think being with my boyfriend for so long, as well as since high school, made me feel extremely attached, and like I wouldn't know what to do if he wasn't around, so in that way I was definitely dependent on him. To clarify things, it was for a Spider-Man costume, and no, I did not give him the money. I spoke to him, and he tried explaining that it was his cousin who forced him to ask me for the money, which I didn't believe, and ended the relationship, since a lot of your comments made me realize I have a seriously low standard for my dating pool, and will have to reconsider my standards moving forward. I guess the reason I indulged this man for so long was because I felt pity for him and his situation. He lives off government disability payments due to having autism, ADHD, and severe clinical depression, and I think as we progressed in our relationship, I slowly became his carer after his family moved away, and had no one to take him to his appointments. Especially after COVID, his carer quit, so he didn't have someone to help him in his day-to-day tasks. I understand now that should have never been my job to pick up, and blurring those lines made me become financially and emotionally used, as he had no one else to depend on. Anyways, I have broken up with my boyfriend. I'll try to listen to you guys and find someone who is more on my level of stability and self-reliance. Thank you everyone for listening and giving me the wake-up call I needed to get out before I committed to marrying or having children with him. And some final comments. He said the costume would be life-changing. Life-changing how? What will be different in your life after 1 or 2 nights of wandering around being admired briefly by strangers, only to leave your girlfriend afterwards paying off a personal loan in her name you have no means of paying back? I'd need an electron microscope to measure this guy's impulse control. His parents owe her child support. Frankly, spending $1,500 for Halloween costume is insane. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't even do Halloween, and even I thought that was crazy. What about you guys? What's the most you've spent on a Halloween costume? Be honest. Anyway, regardless, we're going to move on to another story. Alrighty, same subreddit. This one was written by user RussoDoll86, and it's titled, "My girlfriend's mother took my Transformer toys to give to her grandson." My relationship with my girlfriend's mother has recently turned sour after she took my Transformer toys from my flat to give to her grandson. She has refused to give them back, saying that someone in their 20s shouldn't have toys in their flat. The issue is that they're collectibles in addition to toys. Since the majority of them date to their 1980s, their combined value is estimated to be roughly $10,000 to $11,000. Haven't gotten them appraised, but that's what I'll put down if I make the report. I informed her of their value, but she brushed it aside by stating, well, they're just toys. I even told her I'll go to the store to pick some toys for her grandson, but she doesn't want that and refused by saying, they don't make them like they used to. My girlfriend and I have spoken about this, but she doesn't want to become involved and prefers that I handle it on my own. I told her that I've exhausted all options and that the next logical step is probably to report the items as stolen. Stealing something worth $10,000 isn't a misdemeanor either, this is felony level theft. Additionally, the mother took them by entering my flat using my girlfriend's key. My girlfriend said she would speak to her mother and ask her not to do anything similar ever again, but that I should just let this one go and not escalate the matter because if I reported it, we would be done. She said she would only talk and involve herself if I promised to not do anything about it, and I should value our 2.5-year relationship more than some plastic toys. I don't understand why she isn't valuing our relationship and getting my stuff back from her family. I just want my things returned. I genuinely find it hard to believe she's siding with her mother. We've already been into a few arguments over this over the past several days, and I don't think things will get better. A part of me believes that her mother will likely sell them for a profit or something, and then purchase the cheaper ones for her grandson to give to him on his 6th birthday. I don't want to involve the police and ruin my relationship with my girlfriend or her mother. Up until now, her mother has been nothing but nice to me. Is there a more effective approach to take? Advice? Oh man, that's hard. I mean, can't you at least just threaten to go to the police first? Even if you have no intention of doing so, it might, convince her to give them back. Let's go to the comments. Opie comments when told to go over and get them back. Get them how? I don't know where they are. Most probably in their house, but I don't think she'll let me search her house for my stuff. Asking for it hasn't worked. Hang the F on. She can enter your house to steal your crap, but she won't let you into her house to get your stolen property back? Bro, I can't frickin' even. Get the F out of here. Tell your girlfriend to take you over there and let you in and look for your crap. Also, said child recipient of your stolen property is a relation to your girlfriend. Tell her to get you in touch with that child's family so they can return your stolen property. If your girlfriend won't do either, then she's morally complicit in you being robbed. Sure you want to be with a girlfriend who supports her mother in theft, instead of just going and taking those toys and bringing them back to you? Opie says, I see what you're saying, but other than this one thing, the rest has been good. Here's the thing. Her mother let herself into your home to intentionally steal from you, but she's not going to say anything. She's not taking the key back. She's not demanding the things get returned. She's doing nothing. And she'll punish you if you do the one thing you have left to do. Basically, your girlfriend is helping her mum steal from you, and I'm guessing agrees with her mum about your toys. Are you sure your girlfriend wants in and them being taken? And why is it okay for her to throw your 2.5-year relationship away so mum can literally steal from you? And why would you want to preserve a relationship with someone who thinks so little of you, your feelings, and your belongings? Opie updates quickly. I broke up with my girlfriend because she continued to take her mum's side and threatened to break up with me. Police report has also been filed. Wrote down the estimated value to be $13,000 when the police asked me for it. Fingers crossed now. One comment says, don't forget to get your lock changed. Opie says, already asked the building manager to do that. They should get changed by the end of the week. Does the theft of $10,000 plus worth of stuff increase the potential charges that the girlfriend's mum could face? Not to mention that they may become damaged while in her possession if she doesn't try to sell them. Opie replies, according to the police, yes. That's why they asked me to add $3,000 to my estimation. They would have to be appraised once retrieved, though, for charges to be pressed. Everything will be out of the box now. No way a kid understands value, unless she sold them to collectors, in which case she'll have to pay you for them. Opie replies, she hasn't given them to him yet. She's waiting for his birthday, which is in a few days. I suspect she won't give them to him now after knowing what they're worth, and will try to sell them for profit. And a final update, 2 years later. Hello everyone, I wanted to give you an update about my Transformers collection that was stolen by my ex's mother. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to recover any of them, but we settled for $7,000. This amount is definitely less than what I believe was fair, but at this point, I'm ready to move on. The past 2 years have been incredibly tough, and I just want to put this behind me. Thank you all for your support. It meant a lot to me when I needed it the most. Frustrating, not fair. Let's read some final comments. I bet she was never going to give them to her grandson and sold them. That's why there was nothing to recover and Opie got half their value. The experienced Redditor in me says the girlfriend didn't want them in their house and was in on it because she knew what they were worth. She was hoping Opie would let it go. Settled, so I'm assuming she offered $7,000 if you dropped charges. Did they get given to the kid? Were they sold? What the actual F? I think the girlfriend told her mum to take the toys and sell them. She played OP and her mum took the fall and then sold the collectibles. Oh man, that's so sneaky if that's true, and they got away with it too, at least with a few grand, that is. Anyway guys, we're going to move on to another story. Let me know your thoughts down below. Alright, back over on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Would I be the a-hole for breaking up with my new girlfriend because she was friends with benefits with the guy my ex cheated on me with? My ex cheated on me with this guy. I'm going to call him Mike. It was a whole ass affair between the two of them as it went on for months. Eventually I caught them in our apartment. My girlfriend confessed to everything, so I broke up with her. FYI, Mike was fully aware my girlfriend was with me, so it's not like he's innocent in all of this. This was like 2 years ago. I met my new girlfriend, let's call her Kelly. Kelly has been great, and we've been together for about 6 months. Now, Kelly took me to a company party her work hosted, and she introduced me to her co-workers, and one of them was Mike. It was awkward, I think for both of us, but neither of us said anything. When we get back to her place, I ask her about her history with Mike. She was weirded out, but she did confess that her and Mike were friends with benefits for a while. By the way, she did know about how my last relationship ended, but I never told her who the guy was. I told her that Mike was the dude that my ex-girlfriend slept with, and my girlfriend was shocked. She told me that her and Mike are nothing now, and that she would never do that to me. I don't know, I want to trust my new girlfriend, but the fact that she already slept with him several times, and they work together, I just don't know. Let's go to the comments. You can break up with her, but she hasn't done anything wrong. You'll just have to be at peace knowing that. No a-holes here, except Mike and your ex. Opie says, I just don't know if I can be at peace. Opie on what happened to his ex. I don't really know. I kicked her out of my place. She tried to contact me, but I blocked her on everything that I could. And honestly, I don't care. I don't think that, given the situation, you would be the a-hole for not wanting to be with this girl. I mean, if I were in your shoes, I don't think I could do it either. What matters is that you realize your current girlfriend has no blame in this. It's just an unfortunate circumstance. Onto an update. I had a deep talk with my girlfriend. I laid it all out. How I trusted my ex, how I never thought she would do something like that, and how my entire heart shattered when I caught them banging. How hard I held back tears as my ex tried to make excuses. How much issues that caused me. Maybe I'm overly sensitive, but Mike isn't just a guy I don't like, and he's not just some guy from Kelly's past. He's a huge part of one of the worst moments in my life, and now I have to accept that my current girlfriend slept with him and sees him every day. Anyways, Kelly was very understanding and said she's willing to do anything to make me more comfortable. I asked why they stopped being friends with benefits, and she said she wanted a real relationship and they stopped well before we met, and that she hasn't thought about him that way anymore, especially after she met me. She also said she had no idea Mike was that kind of guy, and she said she'd never would have done anything if she knew. I decided to give this a chance. I hope to God this ain't a mistake. Kelly has been amazing to me, and yeah, logically I don't have a reason not to trust her. But a lot of the feelings of betrayal, anger and self-loathing all came back when I heard that Kelly slept with Mike. After our talk, we made a small joke. She said, "Guess you won't come to any other company parties, huh?" I told her I wasn't going to let Mike keep me from living and having fun with her at those parties. I did ask her if she would support me if something ever came up with Mike though. She said, "I'll tell everyone what a small dick he has if he starts crap with you." We hugged it out. I don't know, I hope things turn out okay. Maybe I'm being naive, but I don't want to let my past keep me from enjoying my present. Yeah, I admire Opie's resilience here. On to another update. We are still together. I've had knots in my stomach every now and then, but some good and bad things happened. The bad thing is that Mike texted my girlfriend and did harass her a few times. He was talking crap about me and tried to start things up again between them. The good thing is that Mike got fired because of this. While I feel horrible that my girlfriend went through this harassment, there's a certain peace of mind that I have knowing she doesn't work with him anymore. She's already blocked him on all socials, and she did collect evidence of Mike harassing her. He was stupid enough to try something at work where a couple other co-workers saw and overheard. Thankfully, my girlfriend is perfectly fine and safe. Mike did get into her personal space, which did pee me off, but my girlfriend handled it. So yeah, while I still trusted my girlfriend regardless of what Mike tried, it still felt like a weight got off of me. One final comment says, "That's so awesome he got fired. That's the best thing that could have happened. I'm sorry your girlfriend had to put up with some crap, but it's so great she's trustworthy and got him in trouble instead of just ignoring it. That should give you some great relief. Mike is an a-hole. I can't believe he tried to start something with her and did something so unhinged that he got himself fired. What an idiot." Opie replies, "From what my girlfriend told me, this wasn't the first time he got reprimanded for this kind of stuff. I guess this was just the final straw." Okie dokie folks, and we're going to wrap that one up there. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.